Welcome back, everybody. This is part 5 of our Pinch Pot Sphere series, making organic forms. Today we're going to be exploring different finishing techniques using Terra Sigillata, underglaze washes, and glazes. This right here is Terra Sigillata. It's a really awesome stuff if you've never used it. I'm going to leave a link in the description for a video on how to make yours. I'm just going to go ahead and dip mine in the Terra Sigillata, and then we're going to put it back in the bisque kiln to 04. Here we go. You want to make sure you don't get it on there too thick. If it gets on too thick, it can flake off. I think most people probably put this on when it's leather hard, but I like to put it on when after it's bisque because it's a lot, sometimes your piece is fragile. It's nice to put it on the bisque stage, and it seems to do just fine. Probably one of my all-time favorite sculpture finishing techniques is using underglaze in several different layers. Here we're going to be using it. We're going to be putting one solid layer down, and then we're going to be bisque firing it and then going back and putting another layer on and wiping it back. This is going to highlight the raised areas and create a ton of depth in our piece and make it really stand out. And then we can go back and either finish it with clear glaze, either a satin or a matte transparent glaze. Additionally, you could use something like an acrylic medium. Acrylic mediums are a really awesome way to finish it. Or a butcher's or a paste wax, as it's sometimes called. Now, the problem with paste wax is it has some pretty harmful vapors, so it's not a good thing to use in a school situation, but it does create a nice finish. Additionally, you can change the firing temperature. Now, if we take these underglazes to cone 6, they're going to seal up pretty good on their own, and they'll look really nice. The colors will deepen at cone 6, so if you want to keep the colors bright, you can keep it at 04, but if you want to make the colors a little darker, you can go to that cone 6 and then it seals up pretty well on its own. You don't even need to use a finishing transparent glaze over the top of it. Here we're going to be using the underglaze much the same way, but we're going to skip that first layer. So I'm going to rub the black in here and then wipe it back. And again, this is going to highlight those raised areas, and then we're going to put a transparent glaze over the top of it, or in our case, several transparent glazes to give it that depth. We're going to use some black underglaze, but really you can use any color you want. You can put light colors over dark colors over light colors. They're all going to look awesome. It's just a cool technique. But you can see me here, I'm painting on there. It doesn't need to be perfect because when you wipe it back, the sponge acts like a paintbrush. So if you miss an area, I kind of did it on purpose just to show you how it looks in the end. But if you miss an area, like right here, that black underglaze is going to spread out into those cracks and it's going to fill it all in and make it look awesome. So if you miss a few areas, it's not a big deal. If you miss an area and you want to go back and paint some black in there just to touch it up, you can totally do that. You can go back and forth until you get it the way you look, and get it the way you want it to. It's also a technique where you can wipe it away as much as you want or as little as you want to get different effects. So play around with it, have some fun. It's just a really cool technique. And I think when you see it come out of the kiln, how beautiful it is, it's going to be something you're going to want to try. Here's what the results look like after drying. Again, we're going to put this in the kiln and the colors will deepen. Or if I want them to deepen quite a bit, I can put them in at cone 6 because this is a stoneware clay. If you have a low fire clay, you have to make sure that you don't go past what the recommended firing range is. Otherwise, you can have a meltdown. But this is stoneware clay, so if I wanted to, I can take it to cone 6. Now this is the Terra Sigillata after coming out of the bisque kiln. So beautiful. And for this one, I'm going to do a red iron oxide wash. So red iron oxide it's basically rust. And I'm going to paint that on there. Now there's red iron oxide in the Terra Sigillata. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have two different values of the red when this comes out of the kiln. We'll have a lighter value, which is the Terra Sigillata, and a darker value, which is the red iron oxide. Just like the black underglaze, paint it on, let it dry, and wipe it back. This is going to wipe very easy because the Terra Sigillata does seal a little bit, so it's going to wipe back very easy. And for our last form here, I'm going to use one of my favorite glazes, PC40 True Celadon by Amico. It's just an incredibly beautiful transparent glaze, and this is going to show the black through it. You can see how it already breaks nicely over texture. When we have that black in there, it's just going to accentuate that. So I'm going to paint on 3 coats. After I get those 3 coats painted on and they dry, we're going to load it up using a squeeze bottle. When you use a squeeze bottle, it's like equal to 3 coats, and we're going to put 2 glazes on top of this on the ridges, and hopefully that they'll get the glaze flowing, and hopefully we'll get some really good depth out of this glaze. Should be incredible. We're going to use a squeeze bottle to put on Ancient Jasper, and in my opinion, Ancient Jasper makes any of the other PC glazes better, and it's a really nice runny brownish type of glaze. So I'm going to put it on there. Again, using the squeeze bottle is almost equal to 3 coats of glaze, so I'm putting it quite heavy on here, and that'll get it to run. And then we're going to use oatmeal, another glaze. Oatmeal is like a glaze enhancer in my opinion, makes all the other PC glazes just look better. So we're going to put another stripe of the oatmeal on there, and we're hoping, I've never tried these 2 in combination before, we're hoping that it's going to get that glaze, just, you know, some extra depth to that glaze. It'll mix together with the Ancient Jasper and the True Celadon, just add a little bit more depth to our piece. If you really enjoyed these techniques, I'm going to put these in the kiln. It is Friday, September 28th. I'm going to put them in the kiln, and next week we will have the video of the results. They're in the kiln as we speak. Going in right now. Leave a comment in the description if you want me to show you how to make the iron oxide and the black iron oxide washes, and maybe I'll make a video about that, or if you want me to make a video about Terra Sigillata, I can do that too. I will see you next week when we'll unload these from the kiln. One last little note, you see that little thing going down there? That is what I call a waster, or some people call it a cookie. And it's going to catch any glaze if that thing runs, so it doesn't wreck our kiln shelves. All right, I will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Have a great day.